listeners, to the Mindful Living podcast with your host Sana, the space where we get real about personal growth, inner peace, and the ways we can live more intentionally, even in a fast paced, tech fueled world. Now, in this episode, today we are diving into a topic that's equal parts inspiring and practical: AI enablement for women. How artificial intelligence is transforming not only businesses but the way we manage our time, emotions, and personal lives. And my guest is someone who I deeply admire. Listeners, meet Nicole Hilgenkamp. She's a powerhouse in corporate transformation and AI strategy. With over 2 decades in procurement and innovation, she has broken through ceilings, driven massive change in the business world, and is now helping companies and individuals alike leverage AI to lead with impact and clarity. She's also a mother of 3 daughters, so she brings both wisdom and groundedness to this conversation. So grab a quick cup of your favorite beverage, settle in, and let's explore what transformation looks like when you lead it with heart. So, with that, Nicole, welcome to the show. And as always, it's such an honor to have you with us.
Well, it's great to be here, and I'm excited for this conversation. It's such an important conversation for women, and we hope that your listeners can leave with some practical tips that will help them reduce stress and really help them enrich their lives from a personal and professional perspective.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, of course, in the context of women's lives, yeah, we can be gender neutral, but let's talk in the context of women's lives. We have to manage homes, emotions, work. I mean, it's more than what we can manage sometimes. It's a lot on our plate. So, what exactly does AI enablement mean to you, Nicole? Especially in this context.
A Absolutely, and in the context and why I talk so passionately about artificial intelligence, and especially with women audiences, is because there are some key facts that, as women, we need to understand about artificial intelligence. First, in the business world, but then I'll talk a little bit professionally. But in the business world, approximately 79% of employed women, and this is just stats from the US, so, not globally. And we could look globally and you will see about the same, but a lot of the careers that women are in are occupations that are susceptible to automation. And one of the great things about artificial intelligence is it does automation. So, the other thing that we're seeing is that there's not as many women, 23% at this point in time, that are AI enabled individuals, artificially intelligent enabled and literate women that are starting to leverage it in their professional and personal life. And so we wanted to close that gap and we want to reskill because there are new opportunities for AI to bring new jobs, jobs of the future. And we want our women in globally to be prepared for that. So sharing those stats is important for people to understand. And if you're not, it's so easy. Out of all the technologies that have come over the years, the cell phone, the computer, this is one of the most easy and intuitive technologies to use, but it comes with the most fear. And so we're seeing less adoption because people are working through that change curve. And so what I wanted to tell the listeners is that it is an easy technology to learn and to dip your toe in the water and you'll start to uncover a flywheel of opportunities that you can use AI to professionally upskill yourself and be prepared so that when automation becomes more available, you would see your career being in jeopardy and that you'll be ready to jump into that job of the future, the new jobs that will be created. The other great thing about artificial intelligence is it is a time saver, and it is a personal. It's like taking all of the best minds of all of the individuals that have studied women's health, wellness, how to prepare for a very stressful life. And it gives you all of that information at your fingertips. So you can really pull and learn from AI personally how you can start to address some things in your family life, such as it helping you save time with tasks and helping it with some of your mental well-being. And I have some great examples of that. I use AI and you mentioned that I have 3 daughters, and my daughters are all 4 years apart, so they're all having different stresses in their stages of life because they're in different stages, and so I have to be a parent to 3 different types of girls going through 3 different types of things. I have one daughter going through puberty. I have one daughter, learning to discover herself and determine what her career will be. And I have one daughter that has finished her college, and she's now learning how to work in the adult world and with some of the dramas that come with working, with a lot of different people. So those are the types of questions that I get from my 3 daughters, and I use AI to help me understand their point of view. I use AI to be almost my therapist. And AI to me in my personal life is basically my strategic, my friend, my companion, my partner, because I'm putting all my inquiries into AI, and then I'm getting great insights from some of the best minds out there. I sometimes I ask my AI, pretend that you're Bren Brown and to let me know what she would do in this situation, or how should I handle and respond to my daughter when this happened. Just this last weekend, I had a issue with my daughter where I snapped, right? I got to the point where I was stressful. It was a stressful situation, and my voice raised, and I could see the hurt in her eyes as soon as the words left my mouth. And I said, what do I do now? AI, like, what should I do? This is my situation. I snapped. I was stressed out. I could see that she was hurt. What is my next step? And AI is like, you need to rebuild the trust. You need to give her a little bit of time. You need to tell her that, take accountability for the fact that you made a mistake and own up to it. And that was great advice that I wouldn't have thought about on my own, and I did all of that, and I now can see how what that advice that AI gave me is helping my relationship with my daughter, which was so important to me, and I might not have you if I didn't utilize AI, I might have approached it in a different way.
Wow, that is really really creative, and it's kind of a role play that you're doing with AI. You are giving a role, you're personifying the AI, and then you are asking questions from her. So, Nicole, we have seen many strides made by women in tech when we talk about the particular industry. But there's one point which you shared with me in our last conversation, that when it comes to the algorithm in AI or the data which is fed, most of it is taken from the historical, data which is available out there, and it's predominantly kind of biased towards men. So, what's your opinion or viewpoint on this?
Yes, it's important for the women to know that when they're working with large language models, they have been trained on years and years and years of history. And if you look through our years and years of history, we just are leaving the month of International Women's Day, okay, around the world. And this month every year reminds me of our continual fight as women to be equals to our male counterparts. And we're not there yet. Have we come a long way? We absolutely have. But we're still fighting, and it's 2025. Okay. That means that all of those years, because we're not to the status of equal in pay equity, in jobs, in lots of different avenues, that all of them, the AI, artificial intelligence, large language models are trained based on history, what we know, and what it's like gathering all the millions of books in every single library. And if you read through them, a lot of that comes with bias. And we've lived in a world where there is a bias in a lot of different ways. And we're still trying to fight for our equality as women. So that bias will show up when you use artificial intelligence because that's how it was trained off of history. So women need to understand that when they're using it, and when you go to say, present me an image of a CEO, 9 times out of 10, it's gonna present an image of a male back, okay? That's an example. And, you can help train the large language models by responding to when that happens. Why would you send me only a male? Because there's as there should be as many CEO women as there is men. So please it, ensure that you're always giving me a diverse point of view and images that reflect that. So anytime AI gives you that picture of a man as a CEO, then you need to respond back because your response back when you're in open AI, then it will be able to learn from you. So, but I do want people to understand, especially women, of that bias that exists, why it exists, how to continue to inform the AI that that's not appropriate and to respond back so that we can start to retrain AI to understand and remove the bias as much as possible. And that's why the bias exists.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. That's such an important, takeaway from this conversation. Um, and circling back to the stats which you mentioned about women who haven't yet adopted AI and they are susceptible to, most of the jobs that kind can be automated, and that stats is kind of worrisome. So many women, they hesitate to adopt new tech because they feel, or maybe systematically they have been feeling that they are not techie enough. So how do we reframe that narrative, Nicole? I mean, especially for women who lead teams or businesses, but they may feel left behind in the AI space.
Oh yeah, that's a great question, Sandy. Their AI is not for tech, is not, there's lots of AI is so intuitive. It's the most intuitive. And so there is definitely that perception because you would assume, and many companies put their artificial intelligence where? In their IT departments. Okay. But artificial intelligence is for everyone. The marketing department, the procurement department, the human resource department is blowing up using AI. You can see that in how when you look for a job, that AI is definitely the one on the other side, scanning your resumes and your CVs and determining who makes it through the next round. If and they'll get to where they're the ones that start to do the first interview with you through AI avatars, etc. So we can't afford as women to think that. And what I love about AI is that even if you think that, dip your toe in because AI is also your teacher. So if you're like, oh, it's too techy for me, I don't even know what an LLM is. Okay, that great. Go to AI, and and ask what is an LLM. I heard that phrase the other day when it came to artificial intelligence, and what does that mean? And AI will explain it to you, and you can even say, explain it to me like I'm a fifth grader. Explain it to me like I'm a non-technical person in non-technical terms, and it will meet your terms and be able to explain it to you where you'll start to get confident that AI is not a tech tool. It's a tool, but you can also utilize it to learn. You can also ask it to be your coach. You can ask it to be your learning companion and say, I would like to start to become AI enabled. And the goals of me using AI will be to save me some time and to help me with maybe my self-doubt and to make me a more confident individual. Give me a 30-day daily learning plan on things I can do to educate myself and
Mhm.
become more confident. And AI will create a beautiful plan for you of things that you can do every day to get just a little bit more confidence and a little bit more knowledge about it. It's that simple.
Mm. So it's yeah, of course, it's a teacher, and it's more of a guide as well. It will guide you for you. So that's quite a varied application, because in fact, if I to be honest, I dread coding, and many, people, especially women, they think that, I need to know about coding, and I need to know about IT and everything to lead or to get a hands on with AI. But there's something definitely liberating in that. So, Nicole, what would you say to a woman leader who's used to doing everything herself, and she finds it hard to delegate? I mean, even to technology.
That's a great question. And again, my biggest advice always is to try
Mm,
different things and utilizing artificial intelligence. I wake up every morning and I say, what can AI do for me today? And I start my day with loading my emails into AI and having them assess what meetings I need to attend, what meetings I need to decline when I'm double booked, and what are the important meetings I should focus on. And that's where I would start my journey for the day. Then you go into I need to prepare something for a bake sale for my daughter tonight. What is the fastest thing that I can make over my lunch hour because I don't have a lot of time? Take a picture of your refrigerator and say, with these ingredients, these are the ingredients I have. What can I make? And AI will start to, like, it looks at shapes, it looks at the image and says, oh, it looks like you have, onions, and I'm assuming you have flour, and maybe you can make an onion bread, something like that. So, y- you you should just start to experiment. And when you get more confident with the models in its response, then I think people will start to learn to delegate. Delegate is not going to be solved by AI. It's a personal thing. And it's about how much control that you want to continue to have as an individual. But you know that as you get that most confident with the intern that works for you, or the employee that works for you, or the friend that's offering to help you, when you have a trust built with them that when you give them anything, that they'll do great with it, then you will start to be able to delegate more. And as you start to learn the capabilities of AI, I think that you'll start to build trust that AI can do certain tasks. And I ask every woman to say, what are the things that are preventing you from personal growth and professional growth that you hate doing? What are the jobs that you hate doing? And put it in a matrix of like spend a lot of time in this very tactical area of like email. I spend a lot of time doing meeting notes or whatever the case may be. I spend a lot of time grocery shopping. Okay.
mm,
And I hate it. And I hate it. Right. And so I would say, here's my groceries over the past 6 months. Give me a reoccurring grocery list. Here's my grocery receipts of the last 6 months. Give me a reoccurring grocery list based on my buying pattern so that I don't have to create a new one every week. Um, that's an example of something that then you could turn that into and now create a delivery automation that tells the grocery store that I'm going to pick it up or I want it delivered on the second Saturday of every month. You can build those type of mechanisms in. And it works the first time and you get your groceries, all of them, without substitutes or whatever the case may be, then that's something that I think you'd feel confident to delegate and let go of. And as women, we do have a hard time letting go and delegating and think that we have to be there for everything. And we need to be there for the important things. And the important things are you first, because women are such caregivers and are very so important in so many other people's lives. Like all three of my daughters depend on me more so than they depend on my husband. And if I wasn't there, then they would, there would definitely be a void in their life, and they have a pull from me. So I use AI to help me where I can where I can use it so that I can be there for those 3 daughters because that's where I wanna be, and where I don't wanna be is grocery shopping.
Mm. Wow. So,
And so if it can help me with grocery shopping,
uh,
then I can spend more time where I wanna be, which is gonna make me a much happier person.
exactly, exactly. And then, I guess we need to have that childlike curiosity, when we are playing with experimenting with AI, because it has so many varied applications, whether in personal and professional lives. And sometimes, in fact, one day I was like quite wondering, okay, let me ask AI that this is my professional journey. Now tell me what are the options available for me, in my future career journey. What can I do to uplift myself professionally? So it gave me some exciting points to think about. I mean, half of my job was already done by AI, and the next half of the job, it was kind of a self introspection which I had to do. So I mean, it can work wonders when you have that childlike curiosity to play with it.
Absolutely. I love that use case, Santi. I love that you did that because one of the things that that women and individuals need to do is they the way in which people grow is to be self-aware. Self-aware. And you were doing that when you were like, what's my next career journey? What are my options? One, it opened up doors to things that you wouldn't have even been able to Google, right? And
Yeah.
and you oh my gosh, I didn't even think of that, but you can ask AI a lot of things, and I've asked AI, when I manage people, I can manage people to anything that they wanna be, and I always say, "Please take I wanna report to you someday. What can I do to get you to that level if that's the level that you want to go to? CEO of the company." And where I find that is the people that are self-aware and wanna continue to improve and take feedback are the people that are gonna get there. The people that have no self-awareness of how they are portrayed and perceived and come across, um, those are the ones that are not going to move forward. Same thing in your personal life. So when you had the curiosity to say, "What is my next career?" That's awesome. You can also say, "Hey, what do you think my friends," once you use AI for a while and it gets to know you because it will kind of learn from you, like the type of questions that you ask, how you ask that question. It gets to know you. So then you can say, and you can do this verbally or even typing, which is another thing people don't understand is that you can work with AI, but just asking it questions versus learning how to be the best prompt engineer out there. To prompt it to get what you want out of it. You could just have a conversation with it and even just a conversation, like, "I'm having a bad day. Tell me something exciting in the world," right? But the curiosity aspect is I mean, I'm gonna give you, like, a funny example. One is I've asked AI is like, How do you perceive me based on, what I have as a career woman about based on our last interactions of the last 6 months?" I was blown away, mic drop as to what it gave me back because it nailed me to a T, and it was very raw in its feedback, which is what you want. You want, like, an unbiased, like, "Here's what I feel like," and what it told me is things like, "You seem to be have high expectations, you might have too high of expectations, you need to understand your audience and maybe dial that down because not as many people are as driven as you seem to be." You're very direct, right? So it gave me some really great feedback. Another way to do the curiosity is to say, pretend like you're my drunk best friend and tell me what you think of me.
Mm.
Right? Can you imagine if your drunk best friend that knows you really well after 6 months of, asking questions about my daughter and my work and all those types of things, what my drunk best friend would say? They would totally tell me exactly what they thought of me, and that's another really self way to become self-aware of some things, some blind spots that you might not know because who's gonna how many times do you have a drunk best friend? And how that you're in that situation.
Right, right. I have been, I have been, and there have been many, many surprising memories. from that time. Well, my drunk friends. I mean, they give me the best reality check I ever had. But
Exactly, the best reality check from someone you love and trust. And maybe you're not gonna be going out with your friends anytime soon. You can use AI to be your drunk best friend at any point in time of the day.
exactly, exactly. And with this personal use, one question comes to my mind. So we often, I mean, with today's scenario, we often see about data privacy, cybersecurity, and since we are interacting with AI, especially for women, it really really it's kind of a thin line. I mean, I'm not sure, but many women would feel that I shouldn't share my private information with AI. Maybe it can be accessed by someone. So what's your viewpoint on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Great, great call out and very something that very everyone should be completely understanding when working with large language models is they are learning from you. So anything you have to think about anything that you put into it, it will you won't be able to get it back necessarily. Okay. I'm not saying never, but it would take more of a technical person to start to re-engineer what you put into it to try to unlearn if you put personal information into it. So you be very careful about what you put into it. I don't put my last name. I don't put my address, my phone number, my daughter's names. Those are the things not to put into it. You can still put, even at my work, I can still put, I work with a lot of suppliers. I can still put their information about the suppliers into it, but I take off the supplier name. I pull out, extract the data, and then I add the supplier name back onto the spreadsheet when I get it back from the LLM. So that's what you do have to understand is that you don't want to put customers, suppliers, pricing, your address, your any of that type of information into it. You can still use it and and add it after, but you really would wanna watch when you put that in. And another great point around ethics and, all of the different cybersecurities, that we need to be aware of is that we do need to be aware, and those are some new jobs that are going to be created because of the AI boom. And so if anyone's interested in that as a career, is that's a great career to get into because because AI is booming, there's a greater need for ethics, for policymakers around AI so that companies can have guardrails to their data privacy, cybersecurity, et cetera. So those are great new jobs for the futures that are all going to be created times 3 or 10. But everyone does need to be aware that what they put in, they need to consider that it'll never get back. Kind of like when I would tell my daughters, hey, any picture that you take and forward to someone, just think that you're forwarding it to the entire world because you won't be able to get that picture back. So be careful what you're sending. Be careful what you're putting into LLM.
Absolutely. That definitely requires mindfulness.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wow. And another great point you made about the, lucrative options out there in cybersecurity, data privacy, ethics. And I also, I mean, that's my opinion. What I feel is all these roles, they require empathy. So I think from that perspective, again, not gender biased, but women have so many opportunities in there. So I would like to hear your opinion as well.
They absolutely have lots of opportunities out there. And here's what I would tell anyone that is not quite there, maybe thought AI was technical, it's not using it today, is again, we already talked about start to play, but you're gonna get a little bit overwhelmed, but what I will tell you is sign up for one newsletter, one AI newsletter. There's a bazillion out there, so that you can just kind of watch what's happening in the AI industry, okay? Because and you're gonna get something groundbreaking every day. You're gonna see the millions and trillions of dollars being spent and how it's being spent and things to watch out for. And you should just follow that. Then you should um get involved in any type. There's a ton of free training out there, even in the cybersecurity space. So look for those opportunities that you might want more formal training on, such as AI. There's tons of webinars. There's tons of companies like Microsoft that are specifically doing training for women. And I'm just looking up one right now that I'm involved in called Women Defining AI. Um, on LinkedIn, and they have free training that walk you through artificial intelligence, and also look for a community within AI. And if you feel most comfortable in a women AI organization, I'm involved in 3 different organizations and more, just that are women like myself, learning together, asking questions of each other. So there's a community out there for you to help you with learning artificial intelligence and what other people are doing in artificial intelligence, whether it be reinventing themselves in a new career, or how they're leveraging it for their marketing, or how that they're using it in their home. And that's the best. That's the best amount of time that I've spent is when I've spent time in those communities as well with other women learning AI.
Oh, wow. That's
Those are 3 takeaways, 3 great takeaways to start to AI enable yourself, and then, your life, I promise you, will be enriched.
mm, absolutely. Absolutely. Interesting. That's very, very useful, and I'll make sure to mention the sources in the show notes. And circling back to a point which you made, talking about delegation, that of course many processes can be automated, but still delegation requires that human touch in there. So now some people, they argue that AI might increase emotional detachment, or um, loneliness, or they can make leadership less personal, especially in mentorship, coaching, or team building roles. So as a women leader, do you ever worry about losing that human touch?
I'm a huge proponent of human in the loop with anything that you do with AI. Human in the loop in anything that you do with AI. And until you get to that stage of something that's so black and white that it can, easily be automated, but then it also can, we're seeing AI avatars in the customer service space. So yes, I absolutely worry that I'm going to lose that emotional touch with my employees, with my family. I mean, I'm gonna tell you, I use it with my daughters, right? And I'm not a good writer. And so I was like, please, I had to write a note for my daughter for her senior send off at college. And I was like, please, this is my daughter. This is what some of the things I want to say. Can you help me write it? It was written beautifully, and I sent it to get, put into the program, and my daughter's like, "AI wrote that." Right? "That's not how you talk, mom, and you don't have that good of grammar." Right? And I was like, "Oh, shoot." And so I learned then that that I needed to be more in the loop on that one, and it sounded not so, not as much like me. I thought it was beautiful, and poignant, but that's not me. I don't talk that way. And so she definitely called it out, and that's what I would say is that you you want to look at and continue to be authentic and have emotional intelligence and connections with your teams and your people in your life, because those are the most important things that you have is those relationships. And so, you know, be mindful of that, and maybe again ask AI how you can be more authentic and ensure that you're showing up for your employees. And I do that by like checking in on them, and when things go bad in their life and so forth. So definitely something to be mindful of. Definitely something to continue to be mindful of. But a lot of people are proponents of human in the loop, and that's the term that AI uses to ensure that we don't lose that emotional touch, even when we are bringing more and more artificial intelligence to our into our ecosystem.
Okay, okay. That is once again such a great, point. It's not about replacing the human, it's more about freeing us up to show up more meaningfully. And that exactly kind of redefining leadership, especially for women. Um, okay, so Nicole, before we wrap, if our listeners would like to get in touch with you, get more of explore more about the applications of AI, the wonders of AI LLM in their professional and personal lives, and more of leadership tips and digital transformation tips, how they can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Follow me on LinkedIn. I'm the only Nicole, Nicole Hilgenkamp, Hilgenkamp out there. And if you look at my profile, you'll find some of those women communities that are available. One of them is called She is AI, and that's a really great magazine, very thought provoking, etc. There's another one, leads AI. She leads AI. That's a great another community. And then women defining AI. And all of those are in my profile. And those are great communities that I would suggest. I would also suggest, looking at some really good reading material, newsletters, community, and free training that's available.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'll make sure to add all the details and links in the show notes for our listeners out there. And Nicole, I can't thank you enough. You brought so much clarity and courage to a topic that can feel overwhelming. And I know so many women listening will walk away feeling seen and maybe even a little more powerful today. So thank you so much. Thank you.
I hope so. Thank you, Sani. Thank you, everyone.
And to everyone tuning in, remember that transformation doesn't require perfection. It just takes one small, bold step toward the life you want to lead. So start with curiosity, more of a childlike curiosity. Start with asking, what if? Start with reclaiming your time, not because you need to do more, but because you deserve to feel more aligned, more whole, and more you. So be sure to share this episode with a woman you admire and tag us with your takeaways. I would love to hear what stood out for you. And also make sure to connect with Nicole. And until next time, keep leading, keep learning, and keep living mindfully. Thank you.